I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real? Or not?
Let's go!
When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please help, baby. Don't go. The simple plot of is the podcast that you're listening to right now. I'm sorry for this bad intro. Oh my god. Welcome back to the Simple Plot of, guys, the podcast where I try to simplify the plots of games as best as I can. As always, I'm your host, Cameron, and if you couldn't tell from that intro, in case you were confused at all, we are going to be starting Kingdom Hearts. Now, it's a game that's notoriously just complicated with its plot and everything, but you know what? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you try to understand it as best I can. I'm probably going to be doing multiple parts of this. I don't know if I'm going to continue just do this and then do the second game. I might just do that just to make it easier. But I'm just going to start with the first game and then I'll do separate episodes on each game, following after that. But we are going to start today by talking about the first game in the series, Kingdom Hearts 1. Before we get into that, new episodes of this podcast come out every Sunday, so, make sure you're following and, check the socials and all that, link in the description. But with that, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts. As I'm so excited to do this episode, you don't even understand. I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm actually planning a couple of Kingdom Hearts tattoos. I know I got one planned, but I want to get a second one too. I just don't know what I'm going to get. But I'm so excited to do this episode for you guys. And thankfully, I'm not sick anymore because last episode, I sounded horrible. Oh my God. I listened back to the episode and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I sound terrible. But I'm feeling a lot better now. So I'm ready to talk about my favorite game. My favorite game series. But in case you don't know what Kingdom Hearts is, according to the Wikipedia, Kingdom Hearts is a series of action role-playing games developed and published by Square Enix, originally called Square, and it's owned by the Walt Disney Company. A collaboration between the two companies, it was conceptualized by Square employees, Japanese game designers Tetsuya Nomura and Shinji Hashimoto. Nomura serves as the series director, so Tetsuya Nomura is the main guy, the main honcho behind this whole Kingdom Hearts nonsense. So if anything is confusing in this whole franchise, blame him, not me. It's come out for multiple platforms. Just to name a few: PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advance, mobile, Nintendo DS, PlayStation, or the PSP, I should say, Nintendo 3DS, PS3, web browser, PS4, Xbox One, Android, iOS, Windows, and Nintendo Switch. And the first release of any of these games was the first Kingdom Hearts on March 28th, 2002, with the latest release being Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, which came out November 11th, 2020. But the first game is what we're talking about today. So like I said, they came out in 2002, and it's obviously the first game in the series. An expanded re-release of the game featuring new and additional content, which is called Final Mix, was released exclusively in Japan December 2002. And let's see, the Final Mix version of the game was later remastered in high definition and released globally as part of the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix collection for the PS3. The game was later ported and released as part of the bundled Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix collection for PS4 in March 2017, Xbox One February 2020, Windows March 2021, and Nintendo Switch February 2022. And that's the only version I've played. No, that's a lie. I did play the original Kingdom Hearts 1, the PS2 version, because my sister used to babysit this kid who I guess liked to play video games, and it was something to keep him entertained. And she would babysit this kid over at my parents' house, and this kid brought with her PS2 games because I also had a PS2, and she just brought the games. One of the games, obviously, being Kingdom Hearts 1. Now, Kingdom Hearts 1 wasn't my first Kingdom Hearts game. That was actually Chain of Memories, because it's the first game in the series that I owned. And, excuse me, I played 1 and Chain of Memories roughly around the same time. So it's, I kind of experienced both the sequel and the original at the same time. So I was able to go into Kingdom Hearts 1 after playing Chain of Memories and be like, oh, okay, now I understand this and this. Because I'm sure a lot of people were like, oh, you played Chain of Memories first? You must have been so confused. Well, I had the first game, and also I was, 11 at the time? So I didn't really care about, the plot and stuff. I was just like, ha, Disney characters, ha, 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 ha. I was just a stupid little kid. But I don't even need to go over to Wikipedia to explain what the plot of this is, but just so you have a basic understanding, and I'll kind of explain some other things as I go along, but right off the bat, this game is kind of a love letter. It combines both Disney characters as well as Final Fantasy characters. So if you've ever played any Final Fantasy game, you'll recognize a lot of people who are in this game. Let me glance over the Wikipedia real quick before I get into this. One thing I suppose I should mention that this game has it's like an action game and like hack and slash, according to Wikipedia. And this game also features an all-star voice cast of like a lot of Disney character official voice actors. Like, for example, you got Bill Farmer as Goofy. You got, like, when you got Hades in there, you got it's James Woods. There's a lot of like people. I don't know. I just feel like I needed to breathe in real quick because I'm like, I need to, inhale the gravity of this situation. Or more like, Gravita. Anyway. If you're not a Kingdom Hearts fan, you're not going to get that. But yeah, they had a huge cast of people for this game, and a lot of like well-known Disney stars too. Like, for example, you have, child actors too, because you have Haley Joel Osment as Sora. You have, this isn't going to happen until the second game, but you have like Jesse McCartney as Roxas, and he pops up in Kingdom Hearts 2. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go into the plot of this, and I've played this game so many times, I don't even need the Wikipedia to help me out. I can do this on my own. So, we start off this game, and you start off as Sora in what is called the Dive to the Heart, which is where you try to establish how the game is going to, go. And you get a choice between choosing the sword, the magic rod, and the shield. Now, truly do whatever you want, pick whatever you want, but the sword starts you off with a little bit more strength, obviously. The shield gives you starts you off with higher defense, and the magic rod obviously starts you off with higher magic. But whichever one you pick, then you have to choose one to give up. So it's like, do you do the sword and the magic rod so you have a good, strength and magic thing? Do you do the sword and the shield so you have strength and defense? It's really, there's recommendations for which one you want to pick, but it's really up to you, however you want to play it. Then you get like the tutorial, you're like, oh, okay. I was just like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, my dad just texted me that. He texted me thanks because it's his birthday today. By the way, birthday shout out to my dad. Happy birthday, father. It is currently, August 16th. Currently my dad's birthday. I don't know what we're going to do later, but we'll figure that out. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts. So this Dive to the Heart beginning is kind of your tutorial. It kind of shows you like, oh, this is how you move around. This is how you attack. This is how you select stuff. I am going to silence you because my father's blowing up my phone. But yeah, this Dive to the Heart acts as the tutorial, and it pops up some little Shadow Heartless for you to fight. Now, before we get into everything else, I should explain what the Heartless are, and it's explained in later on in the game. But just so you know, right off the bat, Heartless are creatures that are born from people who have lost their heart to darkness. So literally, it's the heart that's taken out of people when they lose their heart to darkness, and then that heart that disappears, and that heart turns into the Heartless, basically. It's these little creatures. They come in different variants, but the ones you start off with right away are called Shadow Heartless. They're just little guys. And I actually really badly want to plush with one of them because, my god, they're adorable. But yeah, anyway, this Dive to the Heart thing is more of a tutorial, and then eventually you fight this boss called the Darkside, which is basically a tutorial boss. It's one of those ones you can lose to it, but it's not hard to beat. But there is another thing where you end up your first interaction with Destiny Islands, but it's kind of barren, and you can only interact with 3 characters: Titus, Selphie, and Waka, who people might recognize from which is it? Final Fantasy 9? I don't know. I haven't played much Final Fantasy outside of 7, but I know they're Final Fantasy characters. But they ask you different questions, and depending on your answer, it kind of changes how you level up. So, like, you do all the first answer, like all the first answers to all these questions, then that means that you level up quickly in the beginning, but then it slows down after you reach like level 50. The bottom questions, if you answer all the bottom questions, that means you level up slowly at first, but then after 50, you level up faster. And then obviously the middle questions are just, it's a steady pace. Like you level up pretty evenly. So anyway, with that out of the way, and you defeat Darkside, you actually get into the game. You start off on Destiny Islands. Kairi wakes you up. There's a awkward interaction between both of them, and then Riku shows up. So you got your main 3: Sora, Riku, and Kairi, and they talk about building a raft to go explore other worlds. And so you go through this whole thing. You gather ingredients for Destiny Islands. Eventually, there's one night where some storm happens, and Sora rushes to the island, and you see this big ball of darkness show up, and then Sora finds Riku, and Riku is just like, hey, come on, Sora, we can't be scared of the darkness, let's go, and then tries to take him with. And obviously Riku disappears, Sora's left on the island, all of these Shadow Heartless start popping up, so he tries to fend them off with his little wooden sword that he has, and he quickly realizes this is not working, so eventually he gets the T-Blade. You go into the secret place on the island, and you find Kairi, and Kairi kind of gets blown away from this door that's in the secret place by darkness and goes through Sora, which will be important later. Just remember that. So, Kairi ends up going through Sora and then disappears. Remember that. So, anyway, you go through islands. You eventually get to this part where you fight Darkside again, and the whole island just gets swallowed up by the darkness. Meanwhile, we go to Disney Castle, and Donald is making his way to the throne room where King Mickey is, because Mickey and Minnie are king and queen of Disney Castle. Mickey has left a note for Donald and Goofy saying, like, hey, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I'm gone to other worlds to figure it out. Meanwhile, you and Goofy go find the T-Blade wielder. So Donald wrangles Goofy and is like, hey, let's hop in the gummy ship. Let's go find this T-Blade guy. And then we go back to Traverse Town, where we find that's where Sora ended up after Destiny Islands got swallowed up in the darkness. Traverse Town kind of acts like a place where a lot of people who lost their worlds of darkness end up. So he's exploring through there, and you meet up with Donald and Goofy. Eventually, they explain to Sora, like, hey, you have the T-Blade. With that T-Blade, you can seal worlds and, keep them from getting taken over by the Heartless and keep them from being taken over by darkness. So after all that, you get in the gummy ship and, excuse me, you go to, various Disney worlds. A lot of them don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's, your basic goal. You go to these different worlds, like Disney worlds, and you seal keyholes. Some notable ones, I will say, are Olympus Coliseum, because that's where you go. You go back to multiple times for the tournament, and you can get some really good upgrades and stuff, and you level up really well too. There's a subplot too, where Riku ended up with Maleficent. If you remember Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, I believe. I always forget which one she's from, but he's just like, he's kind of wary or whatever. And Maleficent tries to gaslight the shit out of Riku, just being like, he's showing him, like, Sora interacting with Donald and Goofy and just being like, hey, see, he has new friends, he doesn't need you. And she's basically gaslighting him the whole game. And his ultimate goal, along with Sora's, is to find Kairi. Well, Sora's trying to find both Riku and Kairi, and he interacts with Riku multiple times, and you slowly start to see Riku be influenced by darkness, because his ultimate goal is obviously to find Kairi. You go through these different Disney worlds. One of the more notable words I can't speak. One of the most notable worlds you go to is Neverland. Well, I say Neverland, it's really you just go to Captain Hook's ship. But that's where, like, everything really, like, kind of comes to a head. Because by this point, like, Riku has found Kairi, and she's comatose because she has lost her heart. But she's strong-willed enough that she doesn't turn into a heartless. She just kind of becomes, like, comatose, basically. So Riku has her, and Sora's just like, hey, Riku, like, you found Kairi. And Riku's just like, yeah, without your help. You were too busy running around with your new friends. The heartless obey... Oh my god, this line. It's over, Sora. The heartless obey me now. You're stupid. But yeah, that's one of the more noble worlds. And then it's revealed from Neverland that they go to this place called Hollow Bastion, which is supposed to be where... Well, one thing, I got really ahead of myself. One thing, a lot of the Disney villains that are kind of working to stop Sora from defeating the Heartless and having the darkness take over these worlds, their main goal is to capture the Princesses of Heart, which are a bunch of different Disney princesses, because they will use their hearts to open open the gate to Kingdom Hearts, which is supposed to have, like, give them ultimate, control and be a center for darkness, basically. So Hollow Bastion is the place for that. So Sora gets there and he has an interaction with Riku, and Riku is basically given over to the darkness at this point and tells Sora that he's not worthy of the Keyblade. Now, here's the thing about this that they don't really explain in the game, but I feel like it's important to know. Riku was going to be the original Keyblade wielder, or at least of that Keyblade. But since he willingly went into the darkness, it kind of defaulted to Sora. And so he takes his Keyblade, and then Donald and Goofy reluctantly be like, I mean, we liked you and all, but we have to follow the Keyblade, so sorry, bye. So this whole time, meanwhile, another thing to remember for Hollow Bastion is that Beast is in this world too, because Beast's world got taken over by darkness, but obviously they took Belle, and his love for Belle made him strong-willed enough to be able to find his way to Hollow Bastion to try to save Belle. And once Riku takes your Keyblade, you basically have to team up with Beast to go through this castle, because you just have a wooden sword. Like, Riku just throws a wooden sword at you, and he's just like, hey, have fun with this, idiot. Like, literally your only line of defense is big hairy Mongo next to you. But you make your way through Hollow Bastion, and then you meet up with Riku again, and you did the infamous "my friends are my power" speech. You're like, I don't need a weapon, my friends are my power. And I guess the Keyblade felt so bad for Sora. He was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll go back to you, I love you, please. He meant nothing to me. But yeah, Keyblade zips back to Sora, and at one point, it's at this point that Donald and Goofy are like, hey, even if he didn't have the Keyblade, we've become really good friends with Sora at this point. We're not going to just abandon him. Plus, Ritu's kind of a dick right now. So, but yeah, you make your way through Hollow Bastion, and you find out the reason why Ritu is so evil right now is because he is possessed by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Now, there's two different Ansems, and they kind of explain that more in the second game instead of this game. But all you know is that there's an Ansem the Wise, and then there's Ansem Seeker of Darkness, and the Ansem Seeker of Darkness is the one that's in this game. But yeah, Ritu basically has been taken over by Ansem, and eventually Ritu kind of gets free from his control, but that also gives Ansem, freedom to just be himself. So he reveals himself, and while he's still inside Ritu, he tells Sora that the last princess they need to open the door to Kingdom Hearts is Kairi's heart. But it's revealed that Kairi's heart is inside Sora. Just so remember in Destiny Islands when Kairi went through Sora and then disappeared? Kairi's heart has been inside Sora this whole time. And he's just, he's kind of dumbfounded about it. He's like, Kairi's inside me? Which I'm like, come on, Sora. You guys are like 10. Gross. But he, has a battle with Ritu Ansem and uses Ritu Ansem's new T-Blade that is specifically made to free people's hearts. Sora uses it on himself to free Kairi's heart. So Kairi's heart goes back to Kairi, and Kairi barely catches Sora as he falls before he, disappears or whatever. And all of a sudden, Hollow Bastion starts like rumbling, and Donald and Goofy are like, "We gotta get out of here." So they take Kairi and they start running. Meanwhile, Sora has turned into a Shadow Heartless at this point, but he's still Sora. Like he looks and acts like a Shadow Heartless, but he's still Sora. So you control this little Shadow Heartless as you try to go through back through Hollow Bastion and catch up with Kairi, Donald, and Goofy. And once you catch up with them, they're like, "Oh, Shadow Heartless, try to beat it." But then Kairi's just like, "Wait, I think this is Sora." So she somehow, as a Princess of Heart or whatever, or because of her lightning or whatever, is able to turn Sora back into himself. So, after this, after you guys escape Hollow Bastion and, Kairi is safe now, and you have no idea what happened with Ritu, your goal now becomes track down Ansem, stop him from opening the door to Kingdom Hearts. So, there's not much after Hollow Bastion, like between that and stopping Ansem, so we skip forward to finding Ansem, which you end up back on a now destroyed Destiny Islands, and you start your ultimate battle with Ansem. So, and it's a pretty tough battle. Like even going through on beginner, because I played it on multiple difficulties. Even on beginner, it's not super easy. I mean, it's a little easier on beginner, obviously, but it's still not like simple. You can't just like button mash your way through it. But anyway, you defeat Ansem, and then Ansem is just like, you know what, fine, whatever. I'm going to open the door to Kingdom Hearts anyway. And Sora's just like, I don't think so, Ansem, because I know now that Kingdom Hearts is light. And as soon as the door opens, just this huge thing of light just floods Ansem, and he's just like, light. And he just kind of fades away and disappears. But then what happens, and this just reminds me of a line from Starbomb, Dan and Aaron from Game Grumps. They did a song called Simple Plot of Kingdom Hearts. And it's like, after the part where he talks about, I'm trying to remember the thing. It was like, but anyway, darkness starts coming out of the door to Kingdom Hearts. And the line I was thinking of from the song is like, but if it's filled with light and stuff, it's better not to ask. So then Sora's just like, Donald, Goofy, we gotta close this door. And then Ritu pops up on the other side because that's where he ended up after freeing himself from Ansem's control. And he works with Sora to try to close the door. And you see a bunch of like dark sides pop up on, Ritu's side. And then suddenly there's this light that kind of gets rid of them. And all of a sudden Mickey shows up. Like Mickey Mouse shows up. And it's at this point, a little fun fact, that they couldn't reveal him fully yet because they didn't quite, I think Square Enix didn't quite have the okay from Disney to fully show Mickey, so they could only show like little bits of him, like from behind basically. So Mickey pops up anyway, and he pulls out his own Keyblade, and he's just like, "All right, Sora, let's close this door for good, huh?" So he basically, when they close the door, both Mickey and Sora use their Keyblades to completely seal the door. And it's at this point, obviously, Riku and Mickey are trapped on the one side. Sora, Donald, and Goofy are still in the realm of darkness on this side. And it's at this point that Sora sees Kairi. Like, he can see her on Destiny Islands, but he's still in the realm of darkness, but they can still communicate. And Sora just says, like, I'll come back for you, I promise. And Kairi's like, I know you will. And then they separate, and Kairi's stuck on Destiny Islands as she sees a bunch of stars come back to the night sky to show that all the worlds have been restored, basically. And meanwhile, now, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are trapped in the realm of darkness, and they start doing their journey to try to find Riku and the King. And it's in a post-credits scene. They're traveling down this trail, whatever, like there's grassy fields in this trail. And all of a sudden, Pluto shows up with a letter that has the Mickey head, the Mickey seal. And it's at this point they take off, after Pluto, because they're like, hey, this is our clue, like, let's go. And the game ends with Sora, with a voice basically saying, Sora, remember, you're the one who closed the door. And that's where this game ends. And God, I've already been talking for almost half an hour, and I felt like I haven't really simplified this plot enough. Like, I feel like I left out a lot. And it's really one of those games you gotta experience for yourself, and there are a lot better ways, there are a lot better rundowns of this game. Like, one I highly recommend, if you want some humor to it, is a good enough summary of Kingdom Hearts by Barry Kramer. It's funny, and it gives you a pretty decent understanding of everything, like in a comedic way, like a lot better than I can do. But yeah, I suppose that's the whole hopefully simplified plot of the first Kingdom Hearts. Like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna continuously do this or I'm gonna sprinkle Kingdom Hearts throughout the entirety of like the next couple months or so. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, that's Kingdom Hearts. If you guys want me to cover any other game, let me know on social medias linked in the description. But with that, I hope you have a basic understanding of what Kingdom Hearts is all about now. I know it's a hard game to get into, but I highly recommend it. I absolutely love this series, and I will defend it till the day I die. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys drink your water, do positive things out there. Hope you guys are feeling well. I just got over sickness, so hopefully you guys are feeling pretty good as well. I've been Cameron, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one.